Welcome, everyone, to vpod.ai. I'm your host, Mike, and joining me today to help us navigate the fascinating world of human biology is our incredible guest expert, Susan.
Hi, everyone. It is absolutely wonderful to be here, and I'm really looking forward to our discussion today.
You can sponsor this podcast for just $25. Your message will be featured across major platforms like Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and more. If you're interested, visit vpod.ai to get started today. So I want you to imagine this. You just finished a heavy workout, or maybe you've been working out in the yard on a really hot day.
Right, you're completely drenched in sweat.
Exactly. And you were just chugging pure water, glass after glass. But instead of feeling refreshed, your head starts just absolutely throbbing.
And your skin probably feels super dry, maybe incredibly itchy, too.
Yeah. And you feel profoundly exhausted, and your heart feels like it's randomly skipping beats in your chest. You are actively drowning your system in water, but your body is shutting down as if you're dying of thirst in the desert.
It's such a wild paradox, but today we are exploring exactly why water alone just isn't enough to keep you alive.
Right. We are taking a close look at the hidden electrical network running your entire body, specifically electrolytes, and the catastrophic chain reaction that happens when those crucial levels drop.
It is a phenomenal topic because it completely changes how you view your own physiology. We spend so much time obsessing over the structural parts of the body.
Like building muscle and protecting our bones.
Exactly. And we obsess over the fuel, constantly counting calories and macros, but we completely neglect the electrical grid.
I totally agree. I actually like to think of the human body as this highly complex car engine.
Oh, I love that analogy.
Yeah, because you can have a full tank of premium gas, which is your food. You can have a pristine engine block and structural integrity, which are your bones and muscles. But electrolytes, they are the battery fluid and the spark plugs.
Yes. Without that electrical spark, the machine simply doesn't turn over. It really doesn't matter how much fuel is in the tank.
So what are these spark plugs exactly?
Well, there are 6 main ones that act as these sparks: calcium, chloride, magnesium, phosphate, potassium, and sodium. When these specific minerals dissolve in the water inside your body, they literally carry an electrical charge.
Wow. So they are the medium that allows your brain to talk to your toes.
That is exactly it. They run the whole communication system.
Let's start right at the top then, at the central command center. Because before the physical machine breaks down, the brain starts flashing these early warning lights on the dashboard. And from the research we've been looking at today, a massive culprit is a sudden drop in sodium.
Sodium is incredibly misunderstood. We are constantly bombarded with messaging to avoid it.
Right, by low sodium everything.
Exactly. But sodium is the master regulator of fluid balance in your body. Your cells operate on a very strict concentration gradient. They want the fluid inside the cell to have the exact same concentration of salt as the blood outside the cell.
Okay, so if I lose a bunch of sodium, maybe I'm sweating profusely, my blood suddenly becomes really diluted and watery compared to the inside of my cells.
Yes, and the body absolutely hates that imbalance. So to equalize the concentration, the water in your blood physically crosses the cell membrane and rushes inside your cells.
Which causes the cells to swell up like balloons.
Exactly.
And I was trying to wrap my head around why this specifically causes such brutal headaches, because I usually just chug a massive glass of water when I have a headache, assuming I'm dehydrated. But you're telling me that if my sodium is low, drinking more plain water could actually make the headache much worse?
It absolutely can. And the reason comes down to basic anatomy. If the cells in your biceps swell up a little bit, it's not a big deal. Your skin stretches. But think about your brain.
Oh, right. It's trapped inside a rigid box, the skull.
Precisely. It is a sealed bone vault. When sodium drops and water rushes into your brain cells, they expand, but they have absolutely nowhere to go.
So the swelling just presses the brain tissue directly against the skull.
Right. That throbbing, agonizing headache is literal physical pressure building up inside your head. It is your brain's critical check engine light.
That is a terrifying image. It's literally like filling a water balloon inside a metal safe. But the warning signs aren't just physical pain, are they?
No, they aren't, because these electrolytes, specifically magnesium, phosphate, and sodium, are the actual currency of the nervous system.
Yeah, they are the electrical pulses traveling down your nerves.
Exactly. So a lack of these minerals leads to severe cognitive misfires. It goes way beyond a headache. You might experience profound confusion, or you might feel this deep, inexplicable restlessness or irritability.
And the fatigue is crushing. Like, it's not just feeling sleepy because you stayed up too late.
Right. It's your brain physically lacking the electrical impulses required to generate a thought or maintain wakefulness. A drop in phosphate, for instance, literally pulls the plug on your cognitive energy.
So if the brain, the central command center, is sending out scrambled signals, what happens to the physical machine receiving them? The wiring is faulty, so the engine must start to sputter.
That brings us right to the muscular system. If the nervous system is the wiring, the muscles are the pistons, and they rely entirely on the exact same electrical grid, specifically calcium, magnesium, and potassium.
Now wait, I want to pause on calcium for a second. I've been told my whole life that calcium is just for building strong bones. Drink your milk, get strong bones.
Oh, a lot of people think that, but it plays a totally different active role.
Really? How does it work for muscle movement?
Well, bones act as a storage bank for calcium, but its active daily job is making your muscles move. Think of your muscle fibers like millions of tiny microscopic magnets.
Okay.
When you want to flex your arm, your nervous system sends a spark. That spark releases a flood of calcium into the muscle fiber, which changes the electrical charge and causes those tiny magnets to snap together.
Oh, and that snapping together is the muscle contracting.
You've got it.
Okay, that makes sense. But then how does it let go?
That is where magnesium comes in. Magnesium provides the countercharge that allows those magnets to pull apart and relax.
Oh, wow. So if I am depleted, if my electrical grid is crashing, the calcium might make the muscle snap together, but I chemically lack the magnesium to make it let go.
Exactly. The muscle fibers stay completely locked.
So that agonizing screaming cramp you get in your calf in the middle of the night.
That is your muscle chemically stuck in the on position because the electrical ratio is completely thrown off. And even a minuscule drop in potassium, which regulates the overall voltage of the cell, can trigger those painful spasms.
That completely changes how I view a muscle cramp. But here is something that really blew my mind when looking into the information for today. When we say muscles, we naturally think of our biceps, our chest, our legs. But the digestive tract is essentially just one long, continuous muscle.
It is. It's a highly specialized muscular tube, and it operates on the exact same principles we just discussed. It requires that same electrical exchange to push food along the conveyor belt.
So if you are low on calcium, magnesium, and potassium, the stomach and the intestines experience what is called slow gastric motility.
Right, the conveyor belt just grinds to a halt. The muscular waves that move food through your system simply lose their power.
Which leads to chronic constipation. And this is where the system failure creates a terrifying feedback loop. Because your digestive tract halts, you become constipated and experience a total loss of appetite.
Yeah, you physically don't want to eat or drink.
But because you aren't eating, you are starving your body of the very minerals it needs to restart the conveyor belt.
It is a dangerous downward spiral. And it actually gets worse. If your sodium specifically drops too low, the brain's confused electrical signals can trigger intense nausea and prolonged vomiting.
Which, as you can imagine, violently purges whatever remaining fluids and electrolytes you still had.
Exactly, making the whole situation so much more critical.
That brings me to a paradox that I really need you to explain. We touched on this in the hook. The information shows that low chloride or sodium throws off the body's pH balance, leading to dry, itchy skin and an intense, unquenchable thirst. How is it physically possible to be drinking water all day, but still have dry skin and feel incredibly thirsty?
I know, it is one of the most counterintuitive concepts in biology, but it makes perfect sense once you understand the mechanics. You can drink gallons of pure tap water, but water alone does not hydrate you.
Wait, water doesn't hydrate you?
Not without an escort. Chloride and sodium act like little cellular sponges. They literally lock the fluid into your bloodstream and pull it inside your tissues.
Oh, I see.
They also manage the body's acid-base balance, ensuring the environment is right for the water to stay put. If you lack those electrolyte sponges, the pure water you drink simply has nothing to grab onto. It literally runs right through your plumbing.
So it hits my stomach, completely bypasses the tissues, and goes straight to the bladder.
Yes. You urinate it out before it ever actually hydrates a single cell in your skin or your muscles. Your skin dries out, it cracks, it becomes irritated and itchy.
And your brain keeps firing off the thirst alarm.
Because, on a cellular level, you are still experiencing a severe drought no matter how much water is in your stomach.
That is mind-blowing. You're drowning the system, but dying of thirst. Hearing all of this, it's clear this scales up from annoying to lethal incredibly fast. If we ignore the early warnings, The water balloon headache, the leg cramps, the weird digestive stalls, the body eventually has to prioritize.
It does. It starts shutting down peripheral systems to protect the core, but eventually the grid crashes completely.
And when we talk about the core, we are talking about the heart. Just like your bicep and your gut, your heart is a muscle.
But unlike your bicep, it can never, ever stop to rest. It requires a flawless, continuous electrical rhythm dictated by calcium, magnesium, and potassium.
So when the battery fluid drains, the pacemaker of the heart misfires. That causes arrhythmias. The heart might start racing uncontrollably or drop to a dangerously slow crawl or literally feel like it's skipping beats.
And an arrhythmia mimics the sensation of a heart attack. You get that chest fluttering, the sudden shortness of breath,
Naturally, that causes severe panic.
which dumps adrenaline into the system, placing even more stress on a heart that is already struggling to maintain its electrical rhythm. Furthermore, magnesium acts as a vasodilator.
Meaning it helps your blood vessels relax and controls your blood pressure. So if magnesium drops out of the system,
Your blood pressure completely destabilizes. You lose the pressurized force required to pump blood against gravity up to your brain.
wow, so you experience intense dizziness, lightheadedness, and you can easily black out or faint just by standing up.
Exactly. And the extreme end of the spectrum is terrifying. If left untreated, low sodium damages those brain cells we talked about earlier so severely that it can induce a coma.
A total unrecoverable state of unconsciousness.
Yes, and plummeting calcium and sodium levels can trigger full-blown seizures.
One thing that stood out in our notes is that infants and young children are at a drastically higher risk for these seizures. Why is a baby so much more vulnerable to an electrolyte crash than a full-grown adult?
Well, it comes down to a matter of scale. Think about the total blood and fluid volume of an infant. It is remarkably small. A 150-pound adult has a massive reservoir of fluid and minerals to draw from. If an adult gets a stomach bug and loses a pint of fluid, it's a drop in the bucket.
But for a 10-pound baby,
That same loss is a catastrophic percentage of their entire physiological volume. Their margin of error is virtually non-existent.
so a simple bout of diarrhea that an adult would just sleep off can literally drain a baby's battery dry in a matter of hours.
Yes, exactly. And on top of that, an infant's neurological system is still rapidly developing. It is hypersensitive to any shift in electrical charge or fluid pressure.
Right. So when sodium drops and water rushes into their brain cells, it doesn't just cause a headache.
No, it instantly crosses the threshold into a severe electrical storm in the brain. That chaotic storm of misfiring neurons is what a seizure is.
That is a crucial warning for parents. It's not just about pushing a sippy cup of plain water when a kid is sick. It's about maintaining that delicate electrical balance. And this isn't just about acute sudden crashes either. Chronic long-term imbalances force your organs to work overtime.
They absolutely do, contributing heavily to heart disease and kidney disease down the line. Your kidneys are the master filtration system for electrolytes. They constantly measure and adjust the levels in your blood.
So if your diet or a medical condition keeps those levels chronically out of whack,
The kidneys are running at the red line 24/7 trying to fix it, which eventually leads to irreversible tissue damage.
okay, we've mapped out the catastrophe. We know exactly what happens when the grid goes down. Now we need to figure out how we accidentally caused this and how we can fix it. How are we draining the battery in our daily lives?
The most direct way is simply not eating enough nutrient-dense foods, since diet is our primary way to get these minerals. But any rapid loss of fluids drags electrolytes out with it. Heavy exertion and excessive sweating, especially in hot climates, literally leak salt out of your pores.
And as we mentioned, vomiting and diarrhea are massive rapid depletion events. But it's not always just sweat and sickness, right? Many people are actually prescribed medications that do this, like water pills are incredibly common.
Yes, diuretics are frequently prescribed for high blood pressure or to help clear out fluid retention. They work by forcing the kidneys to flush sodium and water out of the body through urine.
But the kidneys aren't perfect sorters.
Exactly. As they frantically flush the sodium, they often accidentally drag potassium and magnesium right out the door with it.
That makes total sense. And beyond medications, there are several underlying health conditions that sabotage this grid. The list is long. Congestive heart failure, thyroid disease, lung and kidney disease, cancer, eating disorders, and alcohol use disorder all heavily impact how the body absorbs or retains minerals. But I want to focus on one specifically because the mechanics are fascinating.
Okay, sure.
How does cirrhosis, which is severe scarring of the liver, cause you to lose electrolytes? The liver doesn't process electrolytes, does it?
That is a brilliant question. No, the liver doesn't process them directly, but the liver produces proteins that hold fluid inside your blood vessels. When the liver is heavily scarred from cirrhosis, it stops making those proteins.
Oh, wow.
Without them, the fluid in your blood literally leaks out of the veins and pools into the abdominal cavity.
So the body's creating this fake compartment of fluid.
Medically, we call it third spacing. And as that water leaks into the abdomen, it acts like a vacuum, dragging massive amounts of sodium and potassium out of circulation and hiding them where the body can't use them. Your overall electrolyte levels crash, even though the minerals are technically still inside your body.
That is incredible. The machinery is so interconnected. Speaking of interconnected, I want to bring up the counterintuitive fact we teased earlier.
Yeah.
Overhydrating.
Ah, yes.
I was thinking about this like doing a load of laundry. Imagine you have a washing machine and you put in a massive amount of water, but only a tiny microscopic drop of detergent. The clothes are not going to get clean because the concentration of soap is completely destroyed.
That is a highly accurate analogy.
Right. If you just chug plain water without replacing the salts you were sweating out, you're essentially diluting your blood. You are washing all of your body's essential detergent, your electrolytes, right down the drain.
We have a specific clinical term for that, dilutional hyponatremia. And just to break that medical jargon down so it makes perfect sense, hypo means low. Natrium is the scientific Latin word for sodium.
Oh, which is why the symbol for sodium on the periodic table is Na.
Yes, exactly. And emia means in the blood, so low sodium in the blood caused by dilution. It is a very real danger, particularly for marathon runners or endurance athletes who proudly drink gallons of plain water during a race. They are literally watering down their body's ability to function.
Okay, so if someone is listening to this and recognizing the signs, like, wow, I have these unexplainable chronic headaches, I'm deeply fatigued, my calves twitch at night, and my skin is always dry, what is the actual protocol to fix it? I'm assuming the answer isn't just dumping a bunch of salt on your dinner.
No, absolutely not. The very first step is crucial. See a primary healthcare provider. Do not blindly start taking massive doses of synthetic supplements over the counter. Your provider needs to definitively diagnose an imbalance. They do this with a standard blood test to check the exact levels. They will also take a medical history and, very importantly, run an EKG, an electrocardiogram.
Because they need to ensure the electrical rhythm of the heart hasn't been compromised yet. Safety first.
Precisely. Once diagnosed, if it's a mild imbalance, the fix is usually dietary. Food provides these minerals in natural ratios that the body absorbs much more efficiently than a compressed pill.
Let's talk about the grocery list then. If I need to rebuild my sodium levels, I don't really want to eat spoonfuls of table salt. What should I be reaching for?
Look for savory, nutrient-dense options. High-quality broths and soups are fantastic. Cheeses naturally contain excellent sodium and calcium balances.
And for potassium. Everyone instantly yells, bananas. But there has to be more to it.
Bananas are great, but the list is incredibly rich. Oranges, spinach, beans, and dairy products are all fantastic options.
I always forget about potatoes. A baked potato is an absolute powerhouse for potassium. And what about magnesium? We learned today that it is the key to unlocking muscle cramps and stabilizing blood pressure.
For magnesium, you want to focus on nuts, seeds, whole grains, and dark leafy greens. Diet is absolutely your best, most sustainable line of defense. However, in severe clinical cases, or if an underlying disease like cirrhosis or kidney failure is driving the crash, doctors will bypass the digestive system entirely.
So they use IVs.
Yes, they will use specifically formulated IV therapies to safely and rapidly restore the electrical balance directly into the bloodstream.
Because the goal is to treat the root mechanism, not just put a Band-Aid on the symptom. You know, this has been a truly eye-opening journey today. We started with the brain's early warning systems, those throbbing water balloon headaches and the crushing mental fog that tell you the grid is failing. We moved through the physical sputtering of the machine, the locked-up muscle magnets, the digestive conveyor belt grinding to a halt, and the paradox of bone-dry skin while drowning in water.
And we explored the terrifying reality of system failure, the heart arrhythmias, the dangerous drops in blood pressure, and the severe immediate risks of seizures, particularly in the tiny fluid volumes of infants.
But the empowering takeaway is that the solutions are often right in our kitchens. It is about taking a mindful approach to hydration, realizing that pure water is useless without the mineral sponges to hold it. You know, your body is an incredibly communicative machine. It is always talking to you. Learning to translate its signals, Realizing that a random eye twitch, a sudden bout of inexplicable fatigue, or an intense craving for something salty isn't just a random glitch is an absolute superpower.
It truly is. When you understand the underlying mechanics of your physiology, you stop fighting your body's alarms and start collaborating with it.
Exactly. So I'm going to leave you with a final lingering thought. The next time you hit that dreaded 2:00 p.m. afternoon wall when the brain fog rolls in and you can barely keep your eyes open, ask yourself a question. Is your body actually begging for another dehydrating cup of coffee, or is your internal electrical grid simply crying out for a handful of salted nuts and a slice of cheese to spark back to life? Think about it. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through the human machine. Until next time, stay curious and keep learning.